Just waiting for YouTube. Well, YouTube might not start until the exact time, but it says we're live. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Come on, go live, go live, go live. Hold on. What's going on?
Anybody watching you?
No, it's not.
Are we on LinkedIn Live as well, or just YouTube Live?
We're only YouTube. We don't have LinkedIn.
You should get that.
That, I would if I wasn't Wallace and Gromit to LinkedIn. Okay, so you know what? It's not wanting to go on to YouTube. That kind of stinks.
So where are we streaming to?
This live video right now.
Okay.
This is it. It's not going to YouTube yet.
All right. It's 10:30 now, so maybe it's just going to take a second.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. New title we applied on upcoming streams. That's fine. Come on.
If anybody's watching, this is our first live stream.
Well, we're not so sure how live it is right now, Vinny.
Yeah, well, there may be somebody watching.
Yeah, I doubt it. It's not, This is not helping matters much. This kind of stinks. It's not going live. Now, I mean, if we go, let me try this one. We did all this. Why does everything fail when we do it?
Let me go into YouTube and see if.
Yeah, go to YouTube. I'm going to do the LinkedIn link and see if it goes. Not doing what it's supposed to do. Oh, this is horrible. Come on. Okay. This is not what it's supposed to do. Not.
So when I do a search, it shows that goofy 3-minute one that we did like an hour ago.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh gosh, this really kind of stinks here. Like I said, we're just try to make it work.
That's working for me.
Well, YouTube is.
I see it. I see it.
You guys got it on YouTube, on live on YouTube.
Yeah,
I see it. It says live.
I see it. All right. Well, yeah. You know what? I don't think it's the schedule though. Do you guys shareable link? Can you guys put the shareable link in the in LinkedIn in the event chat?
Okay, hold on.
I know it gets confusing.
Yeah, it does.
I got a feeling that it's a delay.
All right, so I get us live. Okay, I found it live too. All right, let me grab that share. I'll put it in LinkedIn. That'll help. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I just got to change the link for some reason. It was nice enough to change the link on it. Paste and save. Okay. Save.
Yep.
And it won't let me save it either, so let me do the join from LinkedIn. Yeah. It goes, okay, so you know what it is. It's on LinkedIn Live right now, guys, but the scheduled event is not, the scheduled event on YouTube, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's two things on YouTube. There's the stream, live stream, and then there's a scheduled stream, right? I set this up as a scheduled stream, and that's the link I got in LinkedIn, okay? The live stream link is different. Hang on, I'll put it here. And post. All right, so at least there's a post on it, okay? Well, guys, I tell you what, let's get busy. All right, we got some things to talk about. Okay. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Look, we got a nice little script here for everyone. I'm Jim Gast, and I am one of the founders and of SpliceNet Consulting and creator of No Law Firm Left Behind. I'm a 25-year legal veteran, legal tech veteran who obviously can't work YouTube and LinkedIn very well. But nevertheless, Dave, Vinny, will you guys take a minute and just introduce yourselves so I get this up and working a little bit better?
Yeah, go ahead, Vinny.
Sure. I am Vinny Del Val. I've been in the legal industry for a number of years now, since 2004, actually. And I've been in other industries as well, supported manufacturing and others as well. But have a lot of experience with the legal software, providing services and technology for law firms.
Short, sweet, and simple. Go for it, Dave.
Yeah, my name's Dave Myers, and I wear two different hats in this whole setup. I have been in since 2004, and I've been in legal technology since 2007. So for over a decade, I've been practicing on kind of both sides of the fence there, and I focus on data privacy, cybersecurity, as well as overall productivity for law firms.
Thanks, Dave. So guys, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about Windows Virtual Desktops and the pros and cons of them, if they're the panacea for law firms to save some money on work from home technology, and if it can actually help facilitate work from home and its transition to what we think is going to be the work from anywhere concept, because work from home does not mean work from anywhere. And we'll talk about why we think it's going to go to work from anywhere in a minute. First, let me tell you just a little bit more about No Law Firm Left Behind while we're here. This whole thing was started back when the COVID quarantines went into effect, and all businesses started shutting down. And we saw our team just go crazy trying to help people get remote access that had never needed remote access before. Fortunately, we were well suited for it, and it worked out. But at that time, I realized that there were going to be a lot of law firms that are going to lose a lot of business really, really fast. And so I started a national group of consultants that would help law firms across the country get remote access, get security tools, get to the place they needed to be to keep business going. And so that kind of became a premise, right, to keep business going and to keep the attorneys and staff productive and the client's legal needs served. And now since we're moved out of that, it's morphed a little bit. No Law Firm Behind has become a way to keep your law firm more competitive, how to make your staff and attorneys more productive, and keep the clients calling, getting more clients calling, because we got to restart. So that's the premise of it, and that's all I'm going to say about it. We'll do this show every week, 10:30 on Tuesdays Eastern time. So without going too far into it, Dave, we talked about work from home and how we're going to go into work from anywhere. Chime in, Vinny, or anywhere you want. But I'm kind of curious, Dave, what you're thinking about work from home, and if it's going away, and if it's going to morph.
So I don't think work from home is going away. I think we've proven that it can work. I think we've proven not only can it work, but it can actually be better in certain circumstances than work from the traditional office space. Now, where I see work from anywhere being a little bit trickier is we kind of have two limitations, okay? One, we have a device limitation. And that is, it's one thing to work from home where you might have a desktop and a solid internet connection, and taking that same idea and moving it to a work from anywhere, you would need something a lot more mobile than a desktop. Maybe you have a laptop, but maybe you don't. Maybe you have a phone that you can work from, maybe you don't. So you have the hardware issue. You also have the connectivity issue, in that, many people have nice, good, high-speed internet at home, but they might not have that same kind of connectivity when they're out and about. So,
well, let me answer your question, Dave.
Say again?
Let me answer your question before we get on too far down that path. What's the justification for working, out and about? Why would they have to get to that place?
So, it's the idea that life happens. And sometimes you might be stuck at home. Sometimes you might just be somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
And it's the idea that as work, whether it be a work-life balance issue, whether it be a productivity issue, different people work better in different settings, whether it be the fact that we might be forced into a work from anywhere scenario based on the next pandemic or, the next disaster of whatever, being able to take it to that next level instead of being tied to your home, could you actually go anywhere? Could you work with other people at any location?
Yeah.
Can the office be our whole world, basically?
On Facebook, I'm part of a RV group, and I've seen the discussion over and over again. How do I work from the campground? How do I work from the mountains or from the beach or from wherever? Because people are, they don't want to be trapped at home for a month. So they may go for 2 weeks to a campground location where they're hooked up, and they're trying to figure out now, how do they do that? How can I work from the lake or wherever?
You know what? I really think that I'll just be honest with you. Everybody I talk to about going back to work, they're like, man, I don't want to. This has been great. I've been able to get my work done. Customers are understanding, clients are understanding. My boss is really cool because he knows or she knows I'm working really hard. We're spoiled now, right? So I don't think that this is going to go away, right? And so with it not going away, one of the other things I wanted to just kind of bring into it is the tech, right? Windows Virtual Desktop. It's something new, and it's something that nobody's really thought about and talked about a whole lot of. But I know we're talking about a lot of different technologies that are enabling the work from anywhere, work from home scenarios. And so, the topic today, Windows Virtual Desktop, I want to talk about what it is, how it came about, the pros and cons of it, and why a law firm would want to consider it now of all times, Benny.
Sure. So Windows Virtual Desktop is a product that you would use together with some Azure cloud services. And basically what it allows you to do is take your infrastructure that is probably tied to a physical office at this point in time, and it lets you move it to the cloud so that it's available from anywhere. And even your desktop, right? Even your desktop operating system would be in the cloud. So now I can access it from my phone, a full Windows desktop, Windows 10. I can access it from a iPad, tablet, or a thin client maybe. And all I need is that RDP, that remote desktop connection to it, and all the processing, all the power is happening in the cloud, which gives us the flexibility to leverage just an internet connection to do our work.
Yeah. And Dave, we've set a few of these up. You want to talk about the pros and cons of it for the people that we've set up? Not the tech pros and cons of it, more about the benefits of the pros and cons.
Right. So let's start with the pros. All right. The pros are consistency. The idea that the machine's just there. These are based on templates instead of having a dedicated machine for every single person. What that means is when we need updates applied, we get to do it like one place. We don't have to worry about this person getting it, and that person not. And, did you update this package that is related to that one? And I don't want to get technical, but the problem from a practical perspective is, people don't have to think about keeping these machines that are in their possession up to date anymore.
Well, you know what, Dave? My job is to keep us not too technical, right? And I know that as I listen to what you just said, it's still very ethereal, right? So you said first off, I'm going to say if I'm sitting out there, I'm watching this, I'm thinking, well, I'm selfish. I like my own computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you maybe talk about how it really is still your own profile, your own place?
You can still do certain customizations with it. You can still pin certain things, certain places so that they're easy to get to. So you don't have to dig through 5 layers of folders to get to that one folder you work in every single day.
Shortcuts are my shortcuts.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Talk about some of the cons real quick on that same venture is you don't have the ability to do whatever you want with these desktops.
And from an owner's perspective, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, from a user's perspective, it can be a pain in the butt. You might not be able to install that streaming music app that you're so used to listening to, and you had to do it a different way. It keeps these things kind of, pure in a lot of ways, which keeps security up, keeps simplicity up, it keeps usability up. But it keeps customizability down.
But isn't the goal isn't the goal for any owner, Vinny? I'll let you answer this. Isn't the goal not to have the fancy backgrounds for the end user, but to make sure they can work? So that really goes right along with that concept of maximum uptime and security.
Yeah, for some folks that is absolutely the goal, is to keep the productivity up. But along with what Dave said, all those benefits keep your costs down because as people have more control over their systems, they cause more problems.
Yeah.
Or maybe one software will conflict with the other. And you have to have someone come in to fix that. You have to have someone to help you with that. So overall cost also is one of the benefits because that cost goes down.
Yeah, yeah. So
now, on the flip side, here, don't forget though, and this is something that I've been addressing at one client right now recently, is the flip side is when something goes wrong for one person, it now goes wrong for everybody. So you got to make sure that when you're doing any kind of change management, it becomes way more important to do the testing in your dev environment, because you're not going to screw up one person when you roll out an update. You're going to screw up everybody if you haven't gone through and done yours.
Now I'll put something out there.
And there are ways to mitigate those types of things.
Right.
Like you said, you have a test environment. You have a couple of users that are in that test environment. They have a different template from the rest. Those are your power users, right? And so they are. You can avoid those situations by doing all your homework ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? You also start to classify your staff and your attorneys into different categories. Maybe the accounting department might need Juris or PC Law or whatever, right? Or even QuickBooks, but your attorneys do not. And although it's a shared environment, you can have different templates, if you will, different login assignments that assign an application to an end user. So it's a lot more controlled than it's ever been. Now, what would be the difference between this and a terminal server, one of you guys?
Terminal server.
Terminal servers.
Yeah, terminal server. It was a great technology, and it still, in many applications, can be very useful. But it was very clunky, and one of the reasons is that it runs on the server operating system that's not very compatible versus Windows 10. So you log into a remote desktop with terminal server. And it, there's limitation software you can load on there. There are driver limitations versus a Windows 10 machine is a user experience.
Boom, right there.
Versus a server operating system is not meant for a user experience, and so that to me is the biggest. That to me is the biggest advantage.
Yeah, Dave. I mean, nothing worse than having an administrator a user log into a server, right? How comfortable are you with that?
I can't tell you how many instances where I've had people call me up and say, hey, the terminal server just got shut down because somebody forgot to disable the end user's ability. we're all used to saying, I'm going to turn the computer off when I'm done using it. Well, if you don't have the right lockdowns in place, you just shut the whole server down. And
Right. And you know what?
That's right. And that won't happen on Windows
not
desktop.
WVD. And a lot of people don't realize the and this is way off topic. This is not something we've discussed, but a lot of people don't realize the money that goes into the graphical user interface on a Windows 10 on a Windows 10 computer, any version of Windows, that money that doesn't go into the same usability for an administrator on a server. There's a big difference.
Well, and there's other reasons for that. You have to think the purpose of a server. Let's go back to like just our base core, okay? Yeah. A server is supposed to it's not supposed to be bogged down with a bunch of user experience UI enhancements. There were so many instances over the years where Microsoft would take a server OS and say, all right, we're going to take this server OS and we're going to let people turn on the desktop user experience on it. And then performance started to stink. Okay. And so it was always this balance and performance. Yeah. And so that's why this infrastructure, this approach with the WVD is good, because it actually takes and puts it back where it should be, which is that separation of duties, basically.
You said duties. Yeah, we can be childish here in this show. You're wearing a lei for crying out loud.
I am. Yeah. I'm ready for vacation.
I hear you there, no doubt. You know what? Why not just keep my server and desktop, guys?
You're again, cost is a factor. Maintenance is a factor.
Oh man, I got a whole list. Can I just read them? Can I read some of the things that we talked about? Dude, I got to tell you what, a lot of you realize this, and I just threw some numbers down. First off, it costs about $20,000, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000, depending on the server, to get a new server and get it installed. That's freaking ridiculous if you're only running one or two applications at a law firm and saving documents. Come on, really? Then on top of that, on average, it's going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000 a year to support it. Now, what do I mean by support it? Okay, and this is a list. It's not an exhaustive list. It's a short list. But here I go. You have to back it up. You have to update it. You have to patch it. You sometimes have to restore it. You sometimes have to reboot it. You sometimes have to fix it. And you got to upgrade it. You got to deal with the hourly IT guys. And so on and so on and so on. Those are just a few of the freaking things that we got to do to servers, you know? And honestly, guys, I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years. Vinny, you've been doing it for just as long. Dave, you've been doing it for 15 years. Did you ever think to yourself how much crap we got to do to servers? So
and that's not to say
keep my desktop and servers.
Yeah, that's not to say that those things will go away completely.
Not completely,
right? We still will need to do those things, but they become a much simpler and a much more streamlined process in the cloud. Downtime is much less when you have to do these things. When you move to the cloud and you take advantage of the high availability and the redundancy. And, being able to spin up a machine quickly, side by side, right? Rather than having to wait till the opportunity to take it down, upgrade it, and then or replace it and such.
Dave, let me ask you.
I will tell you, most of the extended outages that I've ever had at clients were due to hardware failure.
Oh, a reboot that a patch didn't take, right? That some patch that Microsoft needed to not push out, that they later called back, still got pushed out. Always, it happens a lot that way. Dave, let me say this, okay? So I'm thinking about all the investments I've already got. Maybe I'm a law firm that's got WorldDocs or iManage or Juris or PC Law or Time Matters or Amicus or whatever legal application. It's all installed on our server and it runs onto our desktops, Dave. What about those things? What am I going to do about those?
So a lot of those, all right, there's sort of there's three states, all right? On one end, you've got those programs that still just are being run locally because it's how we've always run it, and it's how we're going to keep running it. Then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got the pure cloud-based apps. And these are almost the software as a subscription sort of thing. And those have seen a major growth over the last several years, in particular within the legal vertical. But I mean, it's not unique to legal. It's all verticals. This is the idea where you don't need anything. You just literally sign up and you sign in, and somebody provides the web interface for you to do your thing. And you don't even have to worry about databases and application servers and this, that, and the other thing. Where WVD and Azure sits is right in the middle. So there are a lot of applications that aren't here as pure cloud-based yet, but there's still a lot of benefit moving it from that on-premise scenario to a cloud version of it. So what we find typically is there is a subset of applications that just works better in that client-server environment. Okay, and you mentioned
transition are going to probably be. They don't want to rebuy the applications.
Well, not only do they not want to revive it, but I have had numerous conversations that said, look, it always sounds great to migrate from your on-premise solution to a cloud-based solution, but don't kid yourself. This is going to be a massive undertaking from a time, resource, and user training perspective.
And the majority of them just upgrade the software they've got.
Exactly, but you still can benefit from the uptime. You could still benefit from the redundancy. You can still benefit from the work from home, work from anywhere benefits of the Azure and WVD solution set without having to go all the way to the cloud. Like for the cloud,
because you're probably coupling a server with it, right?
Yeah.
Almost. So when we're setting up these WVD solutions, I have not yet set up one that does not have a full-blown server sitting behind it.
That's because
when you're logging into your WVD, it is connecting to a server. It's getting all the server stuff.
You just did search for somebody, right?
Yeah. One of the concerns that I hear often is, what about performance?
Yeah.
Right? How is this application going to work if I move the server application to the cloud? And that's really what brings it back to the WVD or the Windows virtual desktop. That's one of the advantages of also moving your Windows 10 operating systems into the cloud as well, is because of the performance, right? Some of these applications have connections to databases that are pretty intensive, pretty integrated into the database, and people have tried to just move the server piece to the cloud, and they've had performance issues. So really, it needs to be both.
Your forklift is
it doesn't even need to be a server based in the cloud to experience those performance issues. Yeah. I have one client in particular that I just finished migrating almost all. We have one or two like rarely used applications that we just haven't moved yet. And one of the programs that they use, it's called Perfect Form. It's a probate document management system. So
homegrown here in Cincinnati, by the way.
Right here in Cincinnati, by the way.
And they have been using they got, lockdown happened and they had to work remotely. Well, Perfect Form is a program that works phenomenally well when they're in the office. But when they started working remotely, they found out that over their VPN connection to their server at the office, they would go to open a form, and I literally had users that said, oh yeah, I'd go to open the form, get up, go get coffee, do something else for a little while because it's going to take 5 minutes to open up this form. That's one form.
Yeah, right.
And imagine how many forms they're working with in a day. It's a lot. So
what this does,
they were already like, this is so much better.
Yeah, I like to put it like this. It basically essentially makes that desktop environment that you're used to, that we're looking at right now, it puts it inside of an app shell, if you will, right? And so you've got an app to interface with that virtual desktop now on your desktop. So you could have a good computer and still have a virtual connection. You could have a crappy computer and still have that virtual connection, and it's still running at the same performance level that you would expect it to on your regular desktop.
Let's bring it full. I want to bring it a little bit full circle here. We started off talking about work from home going to work from anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. What are the two things we talk about? What did I mention? One, device limitations. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the money to go out and buy a fancy PC, fancy laptop to take with them. Well, guess what? Now with WVD, like you said, it could be a bare bones, bottom of the barrel laptop, anything that gives you connectivity, and it's going to perform the same way as a $2,000 high-end Surface Book. Okay?
Yep.
Secondly, and this is one that I honestly really only thought about, it's the first time it crossed my mind, but what I would want to look at is the data transfer between working over like a VPN connection versus just remote controlling a WVD. Why? One, you might not always have super fast connectivity. Two, you might have data caps. So let's say you're working from that campground, Vinny. If you're working from a hotspot and you're connecting your laptop to your phone, you might be capped at 5 gigs, 10 gigs, whatever a month, right?
Yep.
So if the WVD environment can enable a significant decrease in the amount of data used per task, your ability to work goes up exponentially using that technology versus sending all that data back and forth over like a VPN connection, for example.
And which it does. There's a dramatic decrease when you're using something like a Windows Virtual Desktop from a bandwidth utilization versus if you're connected via VPN, because the only thing you're sending back and forth are like keyboard strokes, screen views, and things like that, instead of transferring files and data. You know, if you're connecting to the internet, you're using the internet over at the remote location in the cloud, right? You're not using the internet from your computer, and so there's a big difference when you go to.
It's the old. I'm only pushing video and screenshots essentially, and keyboard and mouse clicks. That's really the whole concept. So guys, I tell you what, we hit all our points. I think that's important because we always want to stay, within. I think we added some pretty cool things. But let's have a last thought on this. What's going to happen? Here I am, a law firm, okay, and COVID quarantines are over. By the way, we're okay on time. I want to get just a minute or two here, and I want both of your opinions on this. So take turns. COVID's over, right? And the next thing's around the corner, with all the protests and with all the riots. I'm sure that some businesses have been affected and people went back home to work again. I heard that yesterday beaches opened in Florida and there was a spike in COVID infections, right? And who knows the next thing that's going to happen. I'm a law firm. And I got to do something because, well, it's time for me to reinvest in technology or just change. What's the downside if I don't go with something, if I don't change, if I don't go with something like Windows Virtual Desktop? What is an add-on long term? Vinny?
So you got two big problems. All right. First, you've got the problem that you're simply going to experience more downtime the next time something happens that causes you not to be able to work the way you're used to working. Okay. And secondly, one of the things that we talked about in some prior episodes is we kind of made it up as we went along this time. We implemented technologies to get people back to work without a whole lot of foresight and a whole lot of planning. We just said, all right, this works. We're going to use it. We'll evaluate the security and safety and, appropriateness of it later.
You mean the we generically as in society?
Yeah. Well, I mean, within the business society,
yeah.
The individual society. I mean, it's no different than, the everyday population saw a run on toilet paper. In the business world, we saw a run on laptops and Chromebooks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And so that was due to lack of planning. It was due to lack of thinking about what will we do in this situation. Having these technologies in place ahead of time would have greatly mitigated the impact when this actually happened.
So here's our chances, what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
a couple of things. I think it comes down to, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get, always got.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
You know, you'll have the same limit. If you don't do anything, you'll have the same limitations that you've always had. You'll have the same performance issues that you've always had. You'll have the same cost problems that you've always had. You'll have to scramble when, you know, this is going to happen again. This is not, you know, the precedence has been set, and we're going to be locked down again at some point.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Or there's going to be some other emergency that's going to push us to work from home for another expended period of time. And so if we don't change, if we don't pivot and do things differently, right, we're going to get the same result that we had in March, right? We're going to be in the same place as a business, as a law firm. And so we have to do things differently. We have to think ahead. We have to change the way our technology works for us and the way we work with technology.
You know, I'm gonna add this, and then we'll close on it. I'd like how many people have you talked to that we've made recommendations to, and I know other IT guys have too, IT companies have too, that didn't listen, and you could hear it when they talk to you, because nobody really ever wants to admit that. Who can blame them, right? I don't like to make mistakes either. You know, no one does, but you can see it and feel it when we talk to people at that time. Man, I wish I would have done X, whatever that was, right? And this is that time. You know, we know if it's like, if we didn't learn our lesson just now, it's time to evaluate it and learn the lesson. And otherwise, when it comes time, we're not going to be able to get those webcams and those laptops and those speakers and those headphones and toilet paper and so on and so forth, right? Man, the next one's coming. I don't know what it is. It could be schools not opening the right way, or, who knows what it is. Here's one other last thought. People want to work for companies that will help them work from home or anywhere. Mm-hmm. That's what people are spoiled to right now. And I imagine people looking for a job that's probably, well, in my last place, I wasn't able to work from home and I got kids, and now I want to work from home more often. Pandora's box is open. Dave, you said it, So, guys, hey, I hope this was helpful for everyone. I'm going to put a link down here at the bottom of this is the shameless plug, right? And so if you want to get a little bit more information on Windows Virtual Desktop, that's where you can go. It's on our website. We don't sell. We don't like to sell too much. We consult, we advise, we guide. That's what we're here to do. And as No Law Firm Left Behind, as this is an effort for No Law Firm Left Behind, it's free advice, right, guys? I mean, anybody who wants to reach out to Vinny or Dave, you can find us both all on LinkedIn, and ping us, and we'll happily answer any questions. So, anything left, guys? Is that it?
No, good.
Yeah, I think
for me,
guys. I really enjoyed the topic. We're going to talk about Teams next time, Microsoft Teams, and then we're probably going to have a special session, maybe between me and another person, a special guest coming up, and I will say that there's a very popular guy in legal tech and legal business coaching, so there'll be more posted about that really soon. But hey, guys, thanks a lot. I think it was really fun.
Thank you. It was.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.